brothers marrying sisters. Royal blood is becoming contaminated. The entire royalty became sick. This story is bizarre. Let us begin.
What do you get when royalty marries their own siblings? No, this isn't some medieval soap opera. This is real history, and it's about to get a whole lot awkward. From pharaohs to European empires, these families didn't just rule the world, they bred it, and not in the way you'd expect. Meet the dynasties that thought, hey, why not keep it in the family? But spoiler alert, they may have screwed themselves, literally. This isn't just royal blood, it's a genetic mess waiting to happen. And we're diving into the deeply disturbing side of royal inbreeding. Get ready to uncover some of the most unexpected and shocking parts of history. Yeah, we're talking about royals, monarchs, and dynasties where sibling marriages weren't just accepted, they were practically a family tradition. Now, I'm not talking about some obscure royal family from the dark corners of history. Oh no, this is mainstream, jaw-dropping stuff. Get ready to dive into some of the wildest and most disturbing dynastic practices that shaped entire empires and put the ick in historical ickiness. So why did these royal families marry their own siblings? Was it really about keeping the bloodline pure, or was there something more sinister at play? Spoiler alert, it wasn't just about the family tree, it was about power, control, and the kind of dysfunction you would never believe existed until you saw the receipts. Cleopatra and Ptolemy XIII, Egypt's sibling rulers. Let's kick things off with one of the most famous sibling couples in history, Cleopatra and her brother Ptolemy XIII. Oh yeah, not only did they rule Egypt together, but they were also married to each other. Sounds like the plot to a trashy reality show, doesn't it? But this was real life. The Ptolemies were all about keeping it in the family. In fact, inbreeding was practically a requirement for the throne. It was their way of keeping power within the family, preventing any outside blood from muddying the royal pool. The result? Mental and physical deformities. Cleopatra herself, while sharp as a tack and politically savvy, was said to have suffered from the genetic toll of centuries of close relative marriages. The Ptolemies' constant intermarriage created a weakening dynasty, full of power struggles, corruption, and instability. This inbreeding eventually led to the decline of the empire, contributing to Egypt's vulnerability to Roman conquest. Cleopatra's own romantic and political manipulations couldn't save her from the fate her family set in motion. Their incestuous legacy, though masked in grandeur, was the undoing of one of history's most iconic empires. King Tutankhamun, a separate case of inbreeding. Modern science X-rayed King Tut and found something wild: cleft palate, club foot, and a severely weakened immune system, no thanks to royal inbreeding. The genetic toll of this ancient practice was far from a royal fairy tale. Tutankhamun came from a completely different dynasty, the 18th dynasty, and though not connected to the Ptolemies, he too suffered the consequences of incestuous marriages. His parents were siblings, and his short life and many ailments are some of the most cited examples of the price of inbreeding among royals. The Habsburgs, Europe's royal family of inbreeding. Now let's hop over to Europe, where the Habsburgs took sibling marriage to a whole new level. These guys were practically famous for it, so much so that their family tree looked more like a twisted knot of branches than a proper, healthy lineage. Where the Habsburg dynasty didn't just marry cousins, they kept it in the family for over 200 years. The most famous Habsburg inbred couple? The Spanish Habsburgs. Charles II of Spain, who was the product of decades of intense intermarriage, suffered severely. He had extreme physical and mental issues, including a jaw so misshapen that he couldn't speak clearly, and a psychological state that was equally, if not more, troubled. Charles II, unable to produce an heir and severely incapable of ruling, was seen as the end of an era. and the beginning of Spain's decline. Charles II had a jaw so deformed, his autopsy said he had the body of a 70-year-old at age 39. He was the last of the Habsburg line, and his death marked the end of an empire. In the case of the Habsburgs, this genetic roulette had disastrous effects. By the time Charles II passed, Spain was in political turmoil, economically weakened, and outclassed by other European powers. The Habsburgs' reckless pursuit of pure blood didn't just end their dynasty, it fractured an entire empire. Their missteps triggered a war of succession, the War of Spanish Succession, further destabilizing the region and shifting the power balance in Europe for centuries. The Romanovs, Tsarist Russia's deadly family tradition. Speaking of power struggles, let's talk about the Romanovs. These guys were so intertwined with each other that they didn't just marry their siblings, they married cousins to maintain the royal bloodline. At least they had a little variety, right? Wrong. One notable case, Tsarina Alexandra, the wife of Tsar Nicholas II, was the granddaughter of Queen Victoria, meaning their children were double cousins. This close connection led to the birth of Tsarevich Alexei, who suffered from hemophilia, a genetic disorder that would have remained dormant if it weren't for the family's intense inbreeding. Now let's switch gears. In ancient Hawaii, sibling marriage among royals wasn't just accepted, it was considered sacred. The Ali'i Nui believed it kept their mana, or divine power, concentrated. It's a cultural curveball. While Europe did it out of desperation for lineage control, Hawaii did it for spiritual supremacy. The royal family's obsession with pure blood was one of the factors contributing to their downfall. Tsar Nicholas II's poor leadership was compounded by family issues. His inability to produce an heir who could carry on the family's dynasty, coupled with the dangerous consequences of passing along genetic disorders, sealed the Romanovs' fate. The Russian Revolution eventually came for them in 1917, and they were executed in one of the most brutal endings to a royal family in history. The hidden horror, madness, stillbirths, and secrets. But let's not get it twisted. This wasn't just bizarre trivia. It was tragic. Inbred dynasties faced stillbirths, mental illness, and brutal suffering hidden behind gold-plated thrones. What looked like god kings on the outside was often a genetic meltdown inside. Crazy, right? These families might have thought they were securing their legacies with pure blood, but instead, they created one giant mess of power struggles, genetic disorders, and eventual collapses. These so-called royal families are proof that sometimes trying to keep it in the family doesn't always turn out like you planned. And there you have it. Royalty's most controversial open secret, marrying their siblings to keep power in the family. Whether it's Cleopatra, the Habsburgs, or ancient pharaohs, history never fails to shock us. First time here? Welcome to the wild side of history. We serve up mind-blowing facts, shocking customs, and stories so bizarre you'll be shocked, sometimes laugh and gasp. Think you've heard it all? Trust us, you haven't. Smash that subscribe button so you never miss a tale of royal drama, ancient oddities, or literally jaw-dropping moments. Hit the bell and YouTube will alert you every time we drop a new video. Thanks for watching. History was wild. We've got the receipts, people. Oh yeah, the past must be crazy.